Hey, this is why going live again. Okay, let's try this again. I don't think this will freeze this time. Anyway, just had to swap out a battery. Okay, so going live because if you're stuck at home and you're trying to create, oftentimes being at home, you get a lot of distraction. Other people in your household will be at home at the same time. Maybe you're having cabin fever, whatever it is. Since I've been doing working from home since 2014, I brought together some different ideas. Thought it'd be helpful if you're at home and you're trying to create and you're really having a hard time staying focused, or really with all the news, it's really hard to keep on creating when really this is one of the best times to create. So these are some ideas you can take. Some of them, use them. Others you may just go, nah, it doesn't work for me. But anyway, I think they'll be helpful either way. And without further ado, let's see. Okay, so the first one has to do with the Pomodoro timer, and this is pretty cool. This is something you can get on the App Store. This is it's called Be Focused, and basically the Pomodoro effect works in 25-minute increments, or whatever increments you want to do. And oftentimes I found, at least when I'm working, I'll get distracted or I'll think, this is overwhelming. But much like doing just one single push-up, when it's small enough, you just do it, and you realize that you get to doing 5 or 10 or push-ups. Same sort of thing applies with the Pomodoro effect. You do small chunks of time, maybe 10 minutes. I do 25-minute increments, and then I take a break. And so Be Focused is a great little app in the App Store you can check out. But there's all kinds of them. Pomodoro effect, you can actually go ahead and just use a timer, an egg timer, whatever works for you, but go ahead and do it in 25-minute increments. What's cool about Be Focused is it also kind of keeps track of your time. You can do a to-do list and then knock off things and keep going. So advantage of this is instead of getting overwhelmed, you do small increments, and it's not so overwhelming, and you trick yourself into just getting one small little thing done, and then you take a little break, and then one small little thing done. Anyway, it works quite well. And in combination with this is getting 3 things done. So if you may have a to-do list that's a mile long, and instead, and you might have seen this before, but basically choosing 3 things that you'll get done for that day. And those 3 things obviously align to whatever goals you have for, 30-day, 1 week, 30-day, 90-day, 12 months, whatever it might be, backing it up so that on that day, if you get those 3 things done, then it's a success. Everything else is gravy. And so focusing on those 3 things and then chunking them into the Be Focused, you can actually chunk your 3 things into whatever increments you've chosen. So let's say you choose 25-minute increments. You can basically go ahead and take whatever thing it is you've decided to do for that day, create a video, and chunk it into 25-minute increments, let's say, so that you need like 3 Pomodoros to create your video, whatever it might be. So those 3 things, it works really well. And again, with all this, it's more like what I believe in is experimenting and challenging. And so instead of saying, that's not going to work, this isn't going to work, divest yourself of that. Do an experiment. See if it does work. Do a challenge and try it for a day or 2. See what happens. You'll find that your mind, through a bit of, where is it? Oh, yes. Through the bit of War of Art, Stephen Pressfield. Basically, it's your lizard brain trying to get you to stay safe within your normal routines and so on and so forth. So right now, you're getting plummeted by that lizard brain. So step outside of that and just allow yourself to experiment. I'm just going to do this small thing, see if it works. So it's cool if you do that. And then I like this one. This one's kind of funny. It has to do with just creating where you're at. And really, if you look at, let's say you don't have a tripod, you're making videos and you don't have a tripod, you just pile up a bunch of books. It's like you're working with what you have, and then you bump up from there. And so it's so much easier to do that than it is to just, get yourself stuck in tech land and think, I've got to have the right tech and I've got to have this or that. What do you have, and how could you creatively use it rather than hamstring yourself on something else that you need? Really cool. And a pile of books that works, right? What could you work? The simplest way to make it work. So I like that one. It works really well. Now, here's another one of my favorites, and this has to do basically with free writing. And a lot of times what happens is, people in school, they think free writing, and they have some sort of conception of it. But everyone that does free writing, which free writing is basically taking a timer and without thinking, as much like a meditation, without thinking, you're just writing as fast as you can without really thinking. Most of it's going to be garbage, but you're going to have some golden nuggets in there. And those golden nuggets are what you're going for. It's kind of like a conversation with your subconscious. So what happens is you set that timer, and the timer is going, and you're just writing and writing and writing. And much like meditation, your mind is going to say, this is garbage, this is stupid. But again, like experimentation, challenges, it's your brain telling you, no, don't do this. But when you do, you in fact can come out the other end with some ideas you might not realize, because your subconscious has all these ideas, and from your conscious mind, from all your experiences from when you were born all the way up until now, and you really don't have access to that normally. And so the subconscious mind feeds that to you in dreams and different ways. One of those ways that you can deliberately do that is through free writing. So highly recommend exercise, and like with meditation or other practices, it's not always like one size fits all. You can adapt it to your own needs or to your own experiences, so that you're not stuck with this particular structure that only works. You only do it that way. It's really simple. Write as fast as you can, and getting the words and ideas out, on a typewriter with typing on your computer, or writing it out if you feel more comfortable with that. But it's that simple. And some people will do themes, like, you'll get an idea for a book, you'll get an idea of a theme, project you're working on, and you take that idea, and then you use that as a bouncing off point for your free writing. And it's amazing what happens. And again, it's like an experiment challenge. Your mind might say, nah, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. Try it for a certain period of time, and you'll find, if it works for you, then you'll find it works in spades. And you have to keep going with it. I think at least 30 days before you say it does or doesn't work for you. But, your mileage may vary. So it's really cool. This next one is basically having to do with, it's called the 12-week year. And what it is basically a book that usually, if you look at a year, at the end of the year is when people rush and get all their stuff done. It's amazing what you can get done in a short period of time, because, your mind thinks, oh, the beginning of the year, I've got the whole year. Well, when you break up your year into 90-day increments, and you treat each of those 90 days as a year, suddenly things look quite differently, and you act quite differently. And it's something to try. It's a book. You can get the book on Amazon. Look up 12-week year, and Brian Moran, and basically breaks it down. And it's really cool because you can do the 90-day, 30-day, and then 1 week increments during your year. And you're basically you're creating key milestones, okay? And those milestones are what you want to get done in that year. Now, the real trick of this is that most people will go, okay, well, I want the outcome. I want have made this much money. And so when they don't make that much money, or whatever outcome they want, then they see it as failure. But in this book, they're saying, don't look at the outcome, look at the actions that you take. And that way you are successful if you've taken those actions. And all those actions lead towards a particular result, your key milestones. But if you measure actions taken rather than what you can control, your actions taken, you can't really control oftentimes the outcome, especially when it involves other people. So that's really cool, I think, is measuring those actions taken. And the results are then tied to the months and the 90-day year. And the real key, though, is the next one that I'm going to talk about. And this one's really cool. You don't want to miss this one. Warrior Book. Okay, Gary J. White. This one is really good. It's the How to Master the Art and Science of Having It All. Now, in this one, he's talking about the General's Tent, and the reason the General's Tent ties into the 12-week year. It's really cool. And the General's Tent basically says, take each Sunday. There's a lot in this book, but there's just a little small part of it that touches upon the 12-week year. You're taking that Sunday and you're turning in reports. So basically during the week, each day when you're done, you're writing down a report of what you've done. Or if you use Be Focused, you can see what you've done. At the end of the week, you see those actions. So those are your reports. What have you done? And then you make assessments and course corrections. And this is really important to align with the 12-week year because, yes, you've taken those actions. But again, if those actions, you do want to keep going with those actions. But if you're not seeing a result using the same action and expecting a different outcome is a definition of insanity, right? So he's saying, and Gary J. White's saying in Warrior Book, that when you do the General's Tent and you go each Sunday and you turn in reports, you make assessments, then you make course corrections based on what's going on. So you're not in isolation. It's really cool. And then you strategize on your upcoming week. And it's vitally important that you take and you look at the course corrections. If you didn't get something done, why didn't you get it done? What kind of things are you running into, right? It's like, what are you running into that's distracting you? And what kind of course corrections can you make? Little tiny things to help you get more focused or to kind of just get in the zone. I find it very helpful to get in the zone in the morning. A lot of people talk about the bobsled effect. You need that momentum. You can't just start that momentum. It's hard to push a car. Once you get a car going, the initial part, then it will coast and roll a bit. So it's an initial part. And in the morning, there's some other books that talk about the morning routines you do, and that basically gets your momentum going. And the Warrior Book really, really good. There's so much more in here that he breaks down, and it's really good. But the General's Tent is one of those things that if you practice it along with the 12-week year, really can yield some pretty cool stuff, powerful results. So the next one is, of course, looking at Facebook groups. This one is not really, it's one of those things that everybody talks about, going to Facebook groups and you learn a bunch of stuff. But the thing about it is with Facebook groups, I find, is that you can basically get in there and get help. You can also help other people. So when you're getting help, of course, you're in a niche. You're in that group where other people are like-minded. They're thinking the same way you are. And if you push yourself to help others, then you're actually teaching. So when you end up teaching, you reinforce what you've already learned, which is really key in moving forward with mastery of craft or understanding and so on. So it gets you on a couple different levels, both on help and also helping others. But it also can be used if you're in a niche and you want to find out what are people asking, what are people having trouble with, what are ways you can tweak. Like, let's say you do an offer or you have an online course. What kind of ways can you beef up that online course? Going into the Facebook groups, going to Quora, going and looking at what real people are asking, going into Amazon and looking at some of the books, and then look at the reviews and what are people asking in the reviews? Where are they getting stuck? You can look in YouTube and watch some of the videos, and then look at some of the comments. What kind of things are people asking in those comments from YouTube videos, from books? All kinds of great ways to mine that, but it's really, really helpful. So Facebook groups. Now, this next one, I love this next one. It has to do with mastery of craft, and it has to do with basketball shots. Now, basically the whole idea is, even those guys who are at the top of their game, and they're professional basketball players, they're still making the free throws. They're still practicing their free throws. They've done so many free throws, but they're still practicing. So where have you gone and said, okay, here's what I do, in simple sequences, let's say video, B-roll. You've done millions of B-rolls, but what about like just going and practicing different ways to make B-roll a little bit different, or just practicing the normal B-roll stuff to make it just more fluid, and just to practice it, just to make it a little more fluid and effortless. Those who do mastery of craft, which is really fun to see. Some of the people are so skilled and they just make it look like it's nothing. And the reason is because they sit there and they deliberately practice. It's not just throwing a free throw shot. They're in there. They're deliberately practicing. There's many books on this. One of them is The Rise of Superman. Excellent book. But they talk about the in sports, the deliberate practice, and there's Hotspots too from another book. But basically, deliberate practice isn't just going through the motions, but you're deliberately slowing things down and then speeding them up. You're focused on that practice moment, and you're not just going through the motions. So The Rise of Superman, if you get a hold of that one's a really good one to look at. So free throws, okay, couple more here, and then hopefully these are helpful for you. But I found them helpful, so I'm just sharing them. Some of you may take, some of you might not. So the next one has to do with distracting by social media. And this one's really key right now. And because social media is so huge, and it's like you go into Facebook and you're researching things and suddenly you're distracted by something else. So when you get distracted, I often find it's time to take a break. It's like, okay, time to take a break, right? And when you step away from your computer and take a break, you're more refreshed and you come back and you refocus. But the other part of this is, and this one I found really helpful right now, writing something out. So you see something online, a posting, whatever, it triggers some sort of response. And so you're like, I'm going to respond to this Trump, this guy likes Trump, oh my God, or this guy doesn't like Trump, oh, whatever side you're on. Anyway, you type up your little response, right? And then you don't post it. You've gotten catharsis from typing up the response, but by not posting it, you're not going to get further distracted, because as soon as you post it, those other people, those yahoos, are going to say some sort of other thing that's going to trigger you. And then you're going to have another time suck. You've got to respond to them back. And it goes on and on and on. So rather than do that, get the catharsis from actually responding to the person, but then take that, copy and paste it somewhere so you have it just so that it's there, but then don't post it. And it's amazing because you get the catharsis and you don't get the distraction by all the other responses you get. And you disengage from that conversation, and you disengage from the need to have that trigger you. And it's really beneficial, and you'll get less distracted. You'll have less like argumentative kind of things, especially right now. And as politics go, elections and all that kind of stuff, people get divisive. Excellent one to do. The last one is really hard. Keep organized and limit what you have and only need what you use. So this one's big on a couple different levels. If you look at how much time people usually spend, a lot of it is spent looking for things, because in general, people have so many things that that what they need gets lost among the junk. And I'm really bad for this one, but I try to get better each time. But so then you limit what you have, and it becomes not only physical things, but also just online courses, software, and equipment. Okay, instead of looking and saying, "Oh, whoa, there's that new camera or that new thing," slowing down and saying, "Okay, what do I already have to use?" And using that instead. Look at that online course. You really want to take this online course? Oh my God, it's so amazing! But if you look amongst the online courses you might already have, or videos you could watch, go back to those and re-engage with them. It satisfies your need to learn something new, because oftentimes if you relearn something, you'll still learn something new again. But it also gets you better at the software, or it goes deeper with the online course of the ideas. And so use the equipment you have, use the software you already have, go deeper with it, rather than getting distracted and thinking you need something new. Because let's say you're editing and you're like, oh, I should get this really cool, software. And, why not use that? Use what you already have and see if you can go deeper. There's always something, even with iMovie, something as simple as iMovie, there's stuff you don't know you can do that you can do with it. your iPhone, whatever you've got, you can always dive deeper with it. Usually people use like such a small percentage of even their computer that there's so much to dig into. So keeping organized and limit what you have and need to what, so that you're practicing a form of minimalism, but it's not like you just have, well, you can get into minimalism obviously, but I find it'll lessen the time you're looking for things, and you'll increase your ability to use what you already have, and you'll actually save money also. So 10 things. Hope you found those cool. They're there, and take what you think is useful, disregard the other stuff. But habits, experiments, it's really your mind. I find, especially if you read The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, he talks about the lizard brain and resistance, and you'll have resistance to any number of these, especially when you're home and you are distracted by all these other things at home, and you start to get cabin fever. You have your usual habits and routines that are all busted up. And so you are not feeling very safe. You can get into it talks about the psychology of feeling safe within your normal routines. Get out of all that. And when you do, you'll actually see, if you look, there's a whole catharsis of all of us. Now we're going off a soapbox, but it really is something that we're all experiencing at the same time. But if you think we're going to go back to the way it was before, like normal, it's not going to be. There's a lot more people that are going to be shifting online. There's a lot, people are realizing more and more how much the online world is really the way to go, both in terms of learning, but also connecting with other people and making money online with online courses, with different things. So right now is one of the best times to challenge your normal routines, establish new ones. Read The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg, because he talks about how you can hijack old routines to establish new ones. This book is awesome, but it really, you can take some of the routines you already have, and by altering the trigger points, altering the rewards. It goes about a lot of this. There's some videos online you can type in, obviously in YouTube, give you a quick synopsis. And he has on his website a couple different videos. It'll give you an instant way to use it without getting the whole book, but highly recommend the whole book because you'll understand it in a much broader sense and can go much deeper. But your normal habits and routines have been hijacked by the stuff out there. And so now's the best time to look and say, okay, well, where are things going? And, what kind of things, even when I go back to normal, could I leverage during this time, creating content, connecting with other people, and really being building a base and getting your content out there. So that's about it for the live. Watch for more during the week, days, and so on and so following. Give it a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do to support, just a quick click. It's amazing how you can just support other people through the click. It's a little something from your computer. Boom, you just do it. It's no big deal, but it really helps other channels going around, liking other people's stuff and commenting. Really, you can help other people grow, other creators grow by simple clicks. It really does make a difference. So hit that if any of this is helpful to you. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.